All right, we're back here. Easy. We're back here. Legends of professional wrestling with who? The Boston Bad Boy. The reflection of perfection coming on down in your direction. Right here at your source of community TV. Revere TV. The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Oh, no, that's red hot. No. It's the Boston Bad Boy. This week we have another sad show. But it's going to be a great show. It's on George the Animal Steel, the Detroit Destroyer, who was the most believable bad guy in all of professional wrestling. He was believable. He used to eat the turnbuckles, green tongue. Oh, yeah, he'd go after everything and do everything. Noted for all his great matches with Bruno Sammartino in the Boston Garden. And we got them Matt Classics this week, so set your VCR or your DVD player, whatever you got, your chip, your dip, and go out and get your cookies and milk, and get your grandmother out of the kitchen, get your sister off the phone, and your brother off those chat lines, and watch Legends of Professional Wrestling. We got a great show for you this week. We have great matches, like I said, and unfortunately, it's another show on another wrestler that had passed on, George the Animal Steel. Hey, you! And there's a picture of him right there, George the Animal Steel, right there, better known as James Myers, 1937 to 2017, 79 years old. Rest in peace, Georgie boy. And he did everything in wrestling. As he started out in the professional wrestling career as a mass wrestler, he used to wrestle as the student because he is from Michigan State. He used to coach Michigan State football and all the sort of things that he got into. He used to come into the Boston Garden on the off season, which was October, somewhere around there, when school got out. And he used to wrestle in the main events. He was founded by Bruno Sammartino in Pittsburgh, who was actually scouting him. And then, of course, he went right to the top of the main event with Bruno Sammartino. A lot of great matches all around the Northeast, whether it be Pittsburgh, whether it be the Spectrum, Boston Garden, Madison Square Garden, and all points in between, because George the Animal Steel has done it all. He's eaten quite a few turnbuckles, and that green tongue of his and all the crazy things he's done. In one of the matches you'll see in the Matt Classics, you'll see how the crowd was so scared of him. When he threw something out into the crowd, the whole first row ducked. They were throwing paper cups at him. He picked one up, threw it back, and the crowd actually ducked because they were actually that scared of George the Animal Steel. There's another shot. Hey, there's Rocky Raymond back in the day with George the Animal Steel at one of the independent shows. Posing with Rocky Raymond way back in the day. George the Animal Steel did a lot of independence after he retired from the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, which was the TriWF. And then he also did a lot of work in the WWE, the entertainment part, when they turned his persona, when they said, well, we're going to make him talk. They went to psychiatrists, and he never talked on interviews. He always had a manager, Lou Albano, the Wizard, Blassie, whoever was his manager. But they turned him into a baby face, so to speak, and they put him on the psychiatrist table, and the first words out of his mouth was, "How now, brown cow?" And that was, they turned him into it. And then his big, everyone knows the feud of WrestleMania with George the Animal Steel, the Detroit Destroyer, as he wrestled the Macho Man, Randy Savage, and went on. And there's a picture right there, Bruno Sammartino with the bear hug on Georgie. Looks like he's in a little bit of pain there because the animal in the grips of Bruno Sammartino, that Italian. They used to call Bruno Samson. I didn't know that, but I was reading a little article on Bruno, and they call him Samson. And you know, the Italians, they love the strong guys, the muscles and all that stuff. And Bruno was very strong, known to pick up Calhoun, 640 pounds. And this match, I believe this one was Madison Square Garden. And we got another shot here of Bruno whipping George into the corner buckle or off the ropes maybe, and there's a bloody mess. Bruno used to bloody you up with those hard, heavy blows with those heavy knuckle shots to the head. And wrestling was a little bit rougher back in the day, much like the New Japan on Access TV. If you get a chance to watch New Japan, there it is right there, New Japan, great show. There's George the Animal Steel with Guido Mongo. You never see a heel against a heel, but this night in Pittsburgh, I can tell you that was Pittsburgh, because I can tell you that ring, that was the Pittsburgh ring, and George the Animal Steel had a big battle with Guido Mongo. And there's another shot of Bruno and George Steele, one of the premier matches they had in WWF or WWE, whatever you want to call it. I believe back then it was the TriWF, and George Steele was always in the main event with Bruno. That was a big drawback in the day. They'd have one match, two matches, then they'd have a return match, and And I believe they had a feud with Gorilla Monsoon, and George Steele has wrestled them all. He's been in six-man tags, battle royals. He's traveled all over the world. And like I said, when he first started wrestling, he wrestled with the mask, and he was known as the student. Here's a shot of George Steele outside the ring, and you can see in that left hand that foreign object that he used to put in his mouth, under his armpit, in his tights, in the back of his tights, but no one could find the foreign object. It was unbelievable. The crowd saw it, but the referee could never get his hands on it. There's George, a little candid shot of George the Animal Steele in a natural pose, I guess, with nothing crazy. That same outfit he wore time in and time out with the black tights with the red stripe down the side, red boots, and a regular black sweater. And there's George Steele, the real reason why Bruno lost his title. The night before, Bruno did wrestle George Steele. I believe it was also in Pittsburgh. And George the Animal Steele, which he crashed a chair off the back of the living legend. And that could be the reason why that Koloff, won that title, because he might have softened him up with the chair shot. And then Koloff got him with the big slam and the big knee drop off the top, which you saw in the last show on the Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff. There's George Steele, bloodied up. That was in that same match in Madison Square Garden. And I tell you, back in the day, they used to hit each other with the heavy blows and all the sort of things that they did back then. It was much, much more believable than what you're seeing today on the entertainment network. But times have changed. This isn't the 60s. We're in the 2017. And I do want to holler out, this is my mother's birthday, Antoinette Marie Raymond. Yeah, 420. That's my mother's birthday. God bless her. Rest in peace. As we're doing this rest in peace on George the Animal Steele against Gorilla Monsoon. And, a lot of matches that George Steele had, I can tell you, he really, he was on TV, he broke someone's arm on that hammerlock. He had that famous hammerlock, as you're going to see in the matches to come. We got the Mac Classics this week with Pedro Morales against George Steele, and a lot of great footage, so don't go away. And there's Pedro Morales against the Animal. I believe that was Madison Square Garden. I believe that shot of Pedro Morales, the Latin champion. You know Pedro. People may not remember Pedro, but he was a great champion also. And there's that hammerlock I was just talking to you about. He used to put you up in that hammerlock, and that'll snap your arm like a chicken bone. That would snap, and Morales, I believe he jumped over the back of Steele and got out of that hammerlock. It's called that the flying hammerlock by the Animal, George the Animal Steele. There's Strongbow, Chief Jay Strongbow and George Steele. They had a couple of great matches back in the day, and basically, all the matches that you're going to see this week on Legends of Professional Wrestling, you're not going to see them anywhere else. You're only going to see them here on the Mac Classics from the Boston Garden or Madison Square Garden. There's El Olympico with George Steele. TV taping, I believe that was either out of Hamburg or somewhere in Pennsylvania. And there's the referee, Lou Super, I believe, and the wrestler El Olympico, I'm sorry. And George Steele wrestled them all, and he has a very extensive background. No one was going the ring with him. He'd chew you up. He'd beat you down real quick. And there's a six-man tag with, I believe that's Albano. You can't see his head, but Crazy Luke Graham and George the Animal Steele taking a little powder in between the bouts, in between the falls and the six-man tag. And, he was in all sorts of matches, George Steele. He was a very intellectual guy. A lot of people remember him as being known as a football coach out of the Michigan State, I believe. And, a lot of people were scared of him. They wouldn't go near him. He was very believable back in the day. Hey, you, used to say all that crazy stuff, and he'd shigger and shaggle, and it scared the crowd. Very intense wrestler. And then they turned him into the babyface when he wrestled Macho Man, and they even come up with a stuffed animal for George the Animal, which was mine. It was a little stuffed animal. I'm sure he made some dineros with that on the merch. You got to sell the merch. And they kept him going for a long time, George the Animal Steele, and he phased out, but he also made a lot of appearances with the independents after that. And he was wrestling at Walter Killer Kowalski's, one of his last birthdays. And he did wrestle Fabulous Phil Apollo in an independent show. And basically, he didn't like to be, in a small crowd, he was in all the big crowds, but you had to start somewhere, George. You didn't tell me that you started in crowds of 22,000, you know, in Madison Square Garden and all those areas of wrestling. We got a book here, right here. It was given to me by a friend of mine, Wrestling in the Garden, The Battle for New York. And this was, you know, Toots Martz and Vince McMahon Sr. and some great stories and bouts in here. Matter of fact, I'm going to read right now, before we get too far into it, one of Bruno's first appearances. It was 1960, I believe. And yes, it was 1960, January 2nd. Attendance was 21,000. It grossed $64,680.25. The main event was Antonio Rocca beat Mighty Zuma. Count out a ring in 18 minutes and 32 seconds. And then Bruno Sammartino's first appearance in Madison Square Garden, filling in for Killer Kowalski, was Bull Curry, Wild Bull Curry. Ricky Starr and Miguel Perez beat Wildman Fargo and Don Stevens, 15 minutes and 52 seconds. Lou Bastien, a.k.a. Lou Klein, beat Chet Wallach in 17 minutes and 21 seconds. The midgets were also on the card, and then we had Bernie Bernard and Brown Panther beat Fuzzy Cupid and Pee Wee James in 16 minutes and 32 seconds. Oh, the little guys, the little guys, if you will. Then we had Haystack Calhoun beat Frank Valois, 6 minutes and 59 seconds. Vic Christie beat George MacArthur in 9 minutes and 18 seconds. And Luis Martinez beat Arnold Skaaland in 12 minutes and 15 seconds. Here's a note on this card. It was Bruno Sammartino made his first of what would eventually total 159 Garden appearances. A record crowd of 21,950 paying $64,680.25 attended. These figures, you know, they're up there, you know, at the marks of 21,890 and 64,125, rung up the previous November 13th. This book has all the, if you get it, you can go on the internet and get it. The writers, Scott Tail and Michael Kenyon. It's a great book. I want to thank Brittany Brown for giving this to me. Great book. A lot of information on all the matches all the way up to when Bruno Sammartino retired, and then we took on Bob Backlund, Superstar. All the great matches from Madison Square Garden. Great history. But now, I know you've been waiting. I know you've been anticipating. This is it. The Mat Classics from the Boston Garden. George the Animal Steele, the Detroit Destroyer. Rest in peace, brother.
And we're back at the Boston Garden, May 15th, 1977. Bruno Sammartino versus the Detroit Destroyer, George the Animal Steele. And he's the man that has given Bruno Sammartino the hardest test, because he's the animal. He rips apart the building. He pulls the stairs apart, tables, chairs, anything this animal can get his hands on. And it's Bruno Sammartino in the corner. Now watch out for George Steele. He's an animal. He'll sneak up on you like nobody's business, looking for that foreign object. John Stanley got his hands full tonight with this Detroit Destroyer against the living legend, Bruno Sammartino. Sammartino with a big arm drag now on the animal. And a second one sending the animal railing outside the ring. Look, he's trying to rip apart the building already. He's ripping down the barriers around the ring. He's throwing chairs in the ring. Sammartino got to watch out tonight. It's a very dangerous match. Look out, he got that foreign object, Bruno. Oh, right into the throat now. Sammartino down in the middle of the ring. And George the Animal Steele with a blatant chokehold on the living legend. And our referee, John Stanley, begins to count. The Detroit Destroyer now behind Sammartino with the reverse headlock, and Sammartino right below the midsection. And another one, and one up to the head now. And a second one now. George Steele over the top rope now. Sammartino ramming Steele into the barriers outside the ring. And it looks like George Steele's trying to bring all sorts of wood in the ring. 2x4s. Unbelievable now. Sammartino in the midsection. One in the belly. And follows one up to the side of the head now. Big shot with the 2x4. and George the Animal Steele, the Detroit Destroyer, down on the ropes now, feeling the raft of the Abruzzi Strongman, as Bruno up on the throat with 2 feet. John Stanley beginning to count now as George the Animal Steele tries to find his way outside the ring for a breather. Oh yeah, these are the great Matt Classics. These are Bruno's days of professional wrestling. As you can see, Steele outside the ring breaking something up. He was known as the Animal, and rightfully so. He's got a piece of a chair now. John Stanley ducked the chair. Sammartino outside the ring as he rams his head into those plexiglass barriers outside the ring. Now down into the ring apron. Sammartino's not going to take nothing from the Animal tonight. George the Animal Steele with a low blow now on Sammartino. And another heavy blow to the back of the head, sending Sammartino reeling down into the corner as the Animal George Steele starts putting some heavy boots to the midsection of the living legend now, caught in the corner. Another right hand across the forehead, and another one followed up to the back of the neck. George the Animal Steele, not much of a wrestling match, just some heavy blows going back and forth. Sammartino got his dander up. He's putting the boots hot and heavy. George the Animal Steele in the corner now. The referee can't control the match. He's ringing the bell. He's looking for some assistant now. Sammartino going crazy. He knocks down John Stanley, the referee. Bruno's like a wild animal. George Steele getting choked in the corner. Bruno has taken enough of the shenanigans with all these foreign objects. And they're trying to get some help from the dressing room at this particular time. And a couple referees are coming out. Tom McNeely, as well as Eddie Santa Maria, but that's not going to help him. Sammartino like a wild bull, choking on George the Animal Steele. 3 referees, they can't control a couple of wrestlers coming into the ring now. Sammartino cannot be contained here. The Golden Boy, Arnold Skaaland. George Steele now trying to get up. These 2 wild animals look like Steele's trying. Watch out for Steele. Steele's like an animal. He's trying to get back at Bruno. You can't separate these 2 wild wrestlers tonight. Unbelievable as George Steele finally gets ushered out of the ring. Bruno Sammartino. Looks like Bruno was disqualified. Here's the return match, July 11th, 1977. Bruno Sammartino in his return match against George the Animal Steele. And our special guest referee, Gorilla Monsoon, the Moncharian Giant. He's going to try to keep control of this match tonight. The Animal, a hairy, green-tongued savage. And the living legend, Bruno Sammartino. There's the bell for our wrestling action. Oh, he's unbelievable, George Steele. But Bruno's moving right in. Boots in midsection. Couple of right hands. George Steele is caught in the ropes now. Monsoon, the referee, trying to let him out. And Sammartino, George Steele. Steele with that foreign object now. Oh, right into the throat of Sammartino. Gorilla Monsoon trying to find that foreign object. A master at concealing it. George the Animal Steele, the Detroit Destroyer, puts a big left boot to the chest of Sammartino. In the corner now with a couple of heavy blows. This is the return match. This is the one that it's all about, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation title. The Animal used to come in during the October season, and he used to beat down all the wrestlers till he got to the #1 contender slot. Sammartino back in the corner now. He's going wild again. Bruno Sammartino. Unbelievable boots to the midsection. Uncontrolling right hands to the side of the head now. And George the Animal Steele has woken up the lion. Sammartino whips him over that top rope. Holding on now, trying to hold on. It's George the Animal Steele. Oh no! He's got that timekeeper's table. George the Animal Steele, Gorilla Monsoon trying to... Oh, Bruno rammed his head into that timekeeper's table. That's a steel table. Steel top, wooden frame. Bruno Sammartino putting the boots to the Animal hot and heavy. He's going to show the Animal tonight that he is the Abruzzi Strongman. He is the Worldwide Wrestling Federation champion. And he's putting the boots to George Steele. George Steele looks like he might be out. Coming back now, looks like he's ripping apart that corner buckle with his teeth. He used to like to eat those corner buckles. Ripped them apart. Used that stuff on the inside, raking across the animal's face. Monsoon trying to find that object. San Martino got it now. Got that foreign object now on George the Animal Steele now. He's using it on the animal. Big blow to the side of the head of George the Animal Steele, who finds himself outside the ring. Up against those barriers again. These two wild men, wild Donnybrook here in Boston, ramming his head up against that plexiglass. And the security outside the ring better stay away from Steele. And a second time he rams him right into that plexiglass. San Martino, Gorilla Monsoon, he's got a chair. Watch out, Steele. Oh, he hit Monsoon with it. San Martino gets the chair, rams it across the head of Steele. Looks like a 3 count. Yes, Gorilla Monsoon. George the Animal Steele taking a nap now. The Golden Boy, Alan Skolin. And Bruno Neil still with the chair. And that'll be the end of this feud in Boston. Gorilla Monsoon got clocked with the chair. Oh, watch out, Steele got a chair. Oh, he clocked Monsoon. He clocked Monsoon on the head with that chair. Here we go, here's a crazy one. We're gonna wrap it up with a crazy one. Bruno San Martino against the Animal George, the Animal Steele, with the Grand Wizard. The Animal. Unpredictable George, the Animal Steele, the Detroit Destroyer. And his manager on this particular evening, the Grand Wizard. These are the days when they had managers, not divas. They had real managers, and our referee, John Stanley, still won't let San Martino in the ring. He won't let him in the ring, this grobbler, George the Animal Steele, but Bruno's coming in wild. He wants Steele. This is going to be a wild, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to wrap up Volume 3 with this wild Donnybrook with Bruno San Martino against George the Animal Steele, the Detroit Destroyer, the grobbler from Detroit, the hairy green tongue. And there's the bell. San Martino against Steele. Bruno now, one arm drag on the Animal. Second arm drag, sending Steele railing outside the ring. Look at this man. He needs medication. San Martino and Steele's big forearm smash. Bruno returns, retaliates with a couple of blows of his own. Big right hand, Steele over the top rope. Sending this man with the green tongue flying. Oh, he spiked San Martino. Spiked him with that foreign object. George the Animal Steele choking down on Bruno. Irish whip into that turnbuckle. Oh, San Martino crumbles. I can't stand this. Unbelievable. Oh, no. He crumbles again now, San Martino. George the Animal Steele now thrusting that foreign object. King of the foreign objects. Dirty, bald-headed, hairy man. And Bruno puts a boot deep into the midsection now, sending Steele into that turnbuckle now. Putting a couple of boots to this grobbler. Oh, a low blow. That's why we call him a grobbler. He's using that foreign object like you would use a knife and a fork. Sticking it down into the eyes of San Martino, into the back. And you can see the pain on the face of Bruno San Martino. Oh, another thrust now, San Martino level. Our referee, John Stanley, trying to check and find the object, but to no avail. Big right hand now, there goes that object. Flying in the air, Bruno got it. Bruno got a piece of him now, in the corner. George Steele railing into the other corner now, Bruno now. Still a little groggy. But he's coming for you, Georgie. He's coming for you. You're the Animal. That's why they call him the Animal. He acts like an animal. He eats like an animal. He smells like an animal. His gear is old. He's old. He's hairy. But Bruno's putting it to him. Brings in a 2x4, but Bruno puts it to him hot and heavy. Oh, my God. God, look at these right-hand blows. Off the ropes. Oh, he crashes the head of Steele. It's going crazy here in Boston. We're wrapping this up. Volume 3. The best of the living legend, and Bruno's going crazy on Steele. Steele got the table. He got the table in the middle of the ring now. Oh my good God, who could control this Detroit Destroyer? I know, Bruno can. Ram it into his head, yeah! Squash his head like a grape. Put it right on him. Press him like a pancake. That's right, Bruno, give it to him. Show him why you're the living legend here in Boston. Bruno Sammartino. Clean his clock. Ram him into it again, Bruno. Yeah. Sammartino. Show Steele what it's about. And the animal's outside the ring. He's peeling the wood off like cheese. He's got a piece of wood. He's got a piece of plywood now. This animal, he'll take anything that's not nailed down. Bruno ducked the plywood. Oh, he crashed it across the head of the Detroit Destroyer. Big boot to the side of the head now. He's putting the boots hot and heavy to George the Animal Steele. Yeah! Bruno Sammartino, big right hand uppercut sending Steele outside the ring. He's got nothing left, this animal. And I hope you enjoyed all these great volumes. And George the Animal Steele has got a piece of something. Oh, he dropped it outside the ring, and Sammartino clocks him again. Oh, another right hand. Another boot to the head of the Detroit Destroyer. Oh, he's got a chair. He threw the chair in the ring now. Oh, Bruno got him all lined up with a couple of heavy blows to the side of the head now. He's got him trapped in the ropes. Throwing him off the ropes now. Bruno picks up the chair. Oh, he cleaned his clock. He cleaned his clock. And the winner of the fall in the match, the living legend Bruno Sammartino. Wrestling will never be the same the way it was with Bruno Sammartino. The crowd's going crazy here in Boston. Bruno, they're all yelling. They love the living legend from Abruzzo, Italy. Hope you enjoyed all the great matches, the best of Bruno. And remember, the man behind the belt, it's coming out. So watch it, watch the newsletters, get the Chatterbox, all the great newsletters, and you'll find the man behind the belt, Bruno Sammartino, will be on the market very shortly. And in the ring now, it's George the Animal Steele going bananas, going crazy. Look at him, he needs medication. Going after the crowd person. You dirty grobbler, go home. And we're back at Madison Square Garden. Pedro Morales defending his Worldwide Wrestling Federation World title against George the Animal Steele, the Detroit Destroyer. An evil man in the ring, an evil man outside the ring, an unhappy grobbler. As you can see, the bald head, the unpredictable look in the eye, the hair like an animal, like an ape, the same old wrestling attire. And coming to the ring now, Pedro Morales, the champion, the people's champion from Puerto Rico. Coming into the ring now with the Worldwide Wrestling Federation Championship belt, Pedro Morales. Oh, George Steele attacks him before the bell as he puts some heavy blows on Pedro Morales now. Rights and lefts, and he's jogging him over that top rope. Morales sailing over that top rope as the animal now, the unpredictable animal. Morales outside on that hard concrete floor. Pedro Morales caught off guard before the bell. George the Animal Steele, the Detroit Destroyer. Evil-looking grobbler. Hairy-like man. Ape-like actions. Oh, he's got Morales by the hair. Oh, he rammed his head down on that ring apron. Look at this animal. He's telling the crowd. Nick Crow, the referee. Pedro Morales outside the ring now. Trying to get back into the ring now, get back into this match. And it's George Steele now. He rams his head into that steel corner post now. Pedro Morales. Get rammed in that steel post by George the Animal Steele, the Detroit Destroyer. The man that eats turnbuckles, chews on paper cups. swill, garbage barrels. He goes in barrels, chews on food. He's an animal. He's unpredictable. Hairy like man, ape-like moves. And he's taunting Pedro. Pedro now back up. Rams him into that steel post again. And Morales down on the mat now as you see the referee Nick Kroll telling Steele, stay in the corner. Let the man back on his feet. The animal now like a cat. Back and forth. Cat and mouse game now as the referee trying to keep him in this corner. Trying to get Morales back into the ring now as Pedro lost here. George Steele now got him by the ear. Pushing him back to the corner. Oh, a big left hand. A second left hand. Oh, George Steele. Oh, he reeled him over that top rope again. Pedro Morales down on the concrete floor here in Madison Square Garden. Unbelievable action here. On the best of Madison Square Garden. I can't believe it. I'm so elated. It's Pedro Morales and George Steele. Oh, he rammed him into this corner again. That steel post will not move. Morales could have a shoulder injury now. As the animal, the Detroit Destroyer, Morales hops in the ring now. Oh, big left hand into the breadbasket now. Pedro Hart, the Latin heartthrob, as the animal now. Set and rhythm by Pedro Morales. One of the most powerful left hand in all of professional wrestling now. George the Animal Steele now down on the mat. And the referee pushing back Pedro. And Pedro wants some kind of action. He wants to get into this match now. And Steele now hanging on the ropes. Pedro anxious to get his hands on the animal. And it's George the Animal Steele now trying to get back to his feet. Oh, big boot by Pedro Morales. Field goal, sending him outside the ring now. Half in the ring, half out of the ring. It's George the Animal Steele. Pedro now pulling him up now by his tights. It's Pedro Morales. Getting George the Animal Steele up to his feet. And as he returned the favor, oh, he ran him into that turnbuckle. And George the Animal Steele now on the receiving end of Pedro Morales. And our referee backing up Pedro. Pedro's back out there with a big boot to the side of the head of the animal. Another one. These are the great mat classics from Madison Square Garden. These are the legends of professional wrestling, the foundation. These are the wrestlers that made wrestling what it is today. George the Animal Steele, watch out, he's got a foreign object. He's got a foreign object in his hand now. Known for those foreign objects is George the Animal Steele. As you can see in his right hand now, Pedro anxious. Oh, he launched it into the throat of Pedro Morales. He launched it. Looks to be some kind of a foreign object. And our referee, Nick Kroll, look at the animal go wild on Pedro. Pedro comes back with a right hand of his own. A big boot to the midsection. Pedro, a southpaw. Oh, he nailed him with that one. George the Animal Steele now. Oh, he stuck it in his throat again. Looks like a pencil of some sort. He's got it in his mouth, underneath his armpit. A master of concealing the foreign object. He's putting the boots to Pedro. Jumping up and down on that left hand of Pedro Morales. Oh, a big left hand to the belly. Another one now. George the Animal Steele said, reeling. Pedro. Oh, what a left on the side of the head of the animal. And Morales choking, viciously choking. He can't hold it back. He's choking away at the animal. And our referee, Nick Kroll. Come on, Pedro's trying to bring. Oh, he's stabbing him. Pedro now. Pedro's biting the hand of George Steele. He wants that foreign object. Pedro now. Time for that foreign object now. Looks like Pedro got that foreign object. George the Animal Steele wants no part of the Latin heartthrob. George the Animal Steele, the Detroit Destroyer, the groveling, hairy, ape-like man. Pedro, oh, a big left hand now. Georgie gasping for air. Down on that mat, it's George the Animal Steele, leveled by the left hand of Pedro, and a big left boot to the side of the head of George the Animal Steele. Unbelievable action here. Oh, George Steele hit him with a low blow. Pedro down on the mat now. And our referee, Nick Cole, Georgie, working on that left arm of Pedro Morales. He's stomping it. He's trying to stop the life. He's got him up in that hammerlock. Got him up in that flying hammerlock. George the Animal Steele's finishing move. Pedro now getting the boots put to him again. He's working on that left arm of Pedro Morales. Still looking for submission to win the World Championship here in Madison Square Garden. Over the back, it's Pedro. Big drop kick by Morales. Steele sent reeling. Pedro's going up to the top rope. He's going high. Flying body press by Morales. There it is. Pedro Morales defends the World Championship here in Madison Square Garden. Unbelievable action. George the Animal Steele defeated by Pedro Morales. The Latin heartthrob from Puerto Rico. All the fans here in New York, they're going bananas right now. Pedro's still hurt. And the winner of the fall in the match, Pedro Morales. There's that animal, that groveling, smelly, old animal, George the Animal Steele. He wants some more. Pedro's going to give it to him. Over the top, that hairy ape. Groveling ring attire. Smelly old man. Not much of a wrestler. Evil in the ring, evil outside the ring. George the Animal Steele, the animal. Sent railing by Morales. Morales gave him a beating. He deserved a beating. Morales gave him a beating right here in Madison Square Garden. As you see all the flags getting thrown in the ring, the Puerto Rican American flag, and Pedro Morales. The crowd loves him. The Puerto Rican heartthrob, 240 pounds in the greatest shape of his life. One of the greatest world champions here in New York City. Pedro Morales.
Yeah. Now that's some wrestling action. Now you can't tell me that wasn't a great match with George the Animal Steele against Pedro Morales. Unbelievable. As you can see up front here, we got the staff from Revere TV, the great appreciation from all the great people here at Revere TV. Everybody knows it in Revere. This is the best sports show on in Revere, bar none. We got it all, whether it be pictures, whether it be video, whether it be interviews, we got it all. So you watch us each and every week on Wednesday night. Keep it right, keep it tight. Wednesday from 8 to 9 and 9 to 10, and then you go on Saturday afternoon and loop it all over again from 12 to 1 and 1 to 2. I'll be there waiting for you. And all the great people over there in Saugus helping us out too at Saugus Community TV. You can watch us over there. All the great shows are on. Saturday, I believe, from 10 to 11 and 11 to 12. So watch us there also. I want to thank all the great people there. I'm the Boston Bad Boy. That's right. The only one, the one of one, the one and only, with all the great footage. I'm going to read another show here from Madison Square Garden, I believe, from this great book. This book is a great book. If you get a chance to get it, it's unbelievable, this book. It's a great book. This particular show right here was August 1st, I believe. And I believe it was Bruno Sammartino and Victor Rivera. They beat Beppo and Guido Mongo by disqualification for the Worldwide Wrestling Federation International Tag Team Championship. And on the other card, Crusher Verdú, how do you do? My name is Verdú. Beat Gorilla Monsoon, count out a ring in 4 minutes and 56 seconds. Mario Milano, the Italian, beat George Steele in 11 minutes and 14 seconds. The Mighty Midgets were on the card. Sky Low Low and Little Brutus, they beat the Jamaican Kid and Billy the Kid. Professor Toro Tanaka drew Chief J Strongbow in 20 minutes. John L. Sullivan beat Johnny Rods in 10 minutes and 39 seconds. Manuel Soto beat Joe Turco from Catania, Sicily. And this book, I got to tell you, it's got some great, matches in here. All the attendants, Kowalski, Bruno, Kriplikal, Kovacs, we got them all in here. The Mongols, Guido, Beppo, Lou Albano as their manager. And they have the great battle, with Morales and Koloff, which you saw in The Memories of Ivan Koloff. And there's a lot of great stuff in this book. Tarzan Tyler and Luke Graham as the tag team champions. You got Pedro Morales versus Stasiak. All the great information. They got stories on here in Madison Square Garden going all the way back. I'm going to tell you how far back this book goes. I'm going to tell you way back to Madison Square Garden, too. As you can see on the top here, there's 4 buildings actually, 1, 2, 3, and then this is the 4th new one, the round building. But this is a great book by Scott Tail and Michael Kenyon. I also want to holler out to my friend in New York, Dominic. Dominic, if you want to hear some great stuff on the great hotline, Dominic Valenti's been doing it for years. He's like the Rocky Raymond of New York. I'm the Boston guy, he's the New York guy. And if you want to listen to some great hotline stuff on deaths, people, birthdays, he's got it all day in wrestling history. They get this number down for Dominic Valenti. You can write it down on a piece of paper. It's 212-629-1900. Great hotline, great stories. He's a great guy. Has all the information about the wrestling. And like I said, if you get a chance to get this book, Wrestling in the Garden, it's a great book. So do yourself a favor, go online and get it. And getting back to my Revere TV star there, the appreciation. We had our big meeting once a year, and they were nice enough to give me the star of Rocky Raymond right here. And the star of David, the star of Rocky Raymond here, the legends of professional wrestling, and the best of EPW. We've been doing this show since somewhere around 2002, and a long time coming. And if you do want to come on down here and you do want to do your own show, whether it be about a cooking show, you want to do a show on whatever you have your interest in, come on down, take the course on Monday. Come on down. We're looking for help. I'm looking for help to get involved with the wrestling part of the presentation here on Revere TV. We're looking for someone to help out. We're always I'm looking for someone to do it because we've got some changes. We got a new building coming up next spring, so we got our own building. It's going to be great. People of Revere, you should be very fortunate to have the people that are working here. The number one person, I should say, Bob Dunbar. He's done it all, the CEO, he's done it all here. He brought it from here to here. And we're up here now, and we're going to stay up there. We've got a nice building. And you know what? The only thing in Revere that's really doing something, making it in Revere, making America beautiful. Well, this guy's making Revere beautiful again. And don't forget, right now, and I want to say, remember Antoinette Marie Raymond. It's her birthday today, Annie. Nana, thank you very much for all the things you've done. My mother was a great mother. Oh, yeah, she did it all. Cooked the lasagna, did all the great things with them meatballs. I could go for one of her meatballs right now. But today is her birthday, and happy birthday, and rest in peace, Nana. Getting back to the show, in the weeks to come, we're going to hope to bring you some more great footage from Madison Square Garden. We got Stasiak and Bruno. We got them all. We got them all in the crypt. So, all the things that we have, it's just impossible to really bring it all to you at once. But we're going to try. As you can see, the guy up front there, George Animal Steel, green tongue, turnbuckle eating, son of a gun. And like I said, we are looking for people to help out on the show. You want to get involved with professional wrestling as you know it, and it's not entertainment. We got the old stuff. And, I got a minute or two here. I wanted a great shirt, the New Japan Pro Wrestling on Friday nights, 7 to 8, 8 to 9. It might fluctuate. Check in the book there. Some such great wrestlers from Japan. Hiroshi Tanahashi. Then we have Nakamura, who just signed with the WWE. And you got Kenny Omega. You got a lot of great guys. You got, there's so many of them. Goto, Tenza, all the great guys. So if you like Japanese wrestling and you like some real hard-hitting blows, a lot of foot action. They got the Never Openweight Championship. They got Ishii. He's crazy. He hits hard. Ishii. He's about 5'6", I believe, but he hits hard. So if you got a chance to watch some great wrestling action on Friday night, turn your channel to Access TV. It's free. And I tell you, they got some great shows on there. Wrestle Kingdom they had on there recently with Tanahashi against Okada, a great wrestler Okada, a Japanese. I know you may not be familiar with these names, but check it out on Friday night. It's some great action. And like I said, we are going to be here each and every week trying to put stuff together for you and put a show together. And we're going to be reading out this book, all the great matches from Madison Square Garden. And there's just so many of them in here. Ricky Starr, Rocca. We had all the great names. I mean, it's just impossible to really go through. This goes back to Strangler Lewis, going back to the 1800s. It's just crazy. It's just the best sports place in New York. It's an unbelievable book, and like I said, it is a good book. So go online and check it out. Wrestling in the Garden, the Battle of New York. Toots March, when they were having them big battles with Bruno Sammartino and Buddy Rogers. And Bruno was up in Canada. They called him back down, and they wanted him to come back into the New York area and bring it back up. And then after that, you know, it's all history. Over 159 sellouts for Bruno Sammartino in Madison Square Garden. And it's just a great book. And I'm just infatuated over it. I mean, looking through it, and every time I do a show, I'm going to take a couple of events from Madison Square Garden and read them to you. Some of you people may not know some of the names. They go back, and some of you people will know the names. So, you know, basically, check us out now. Make sure you keep watching Legends of Professional Wrestling. And remember, the Sand Sculptors are coming up. All the great things are happening here in Revere. We got St. Anthony's doing a festival this year. They're coming back. We got a big festival on Shirley Ave. Revere is really starting to get active. The weather's breaking. And I tell you, the birds are singing, and all the things are going to be happening here in Revere. You got a great town. And we made it through the Patriots Day. We made it through the marathon with no problems. God bless, and everything happened. And we're going to tell you a lot of things that are going to be happening here. We got, you know, some of the shows that we're going to try to bring together with some of the things we're doing, and some footage. We got our shows coming up, Empire Pro Wrestling. Hopefully we're going to get some shows coming up from Bangor State Fair. We've been talking to Bolton Fair. We've been talking with Brockton Fair. We also been hoping to get back in Marshfield at the Marshfield Fair. So keep your eye on the papers or listen on the radio, because you know they're advertising for all the great things that are coming up at these fairs. You know, that's our festive. We do a lot of stuff with the fairs, getting into the buildings, and we're going to be doing a show for the deceased wrestlers of New England, one being Master Richard Burns from Malden, had that karate school. Then also we got John Cronus from Everett, ECW champion, been all over Japan, great guy. We miss you a lot, John. As well as Colin Oborski, and then we have from Charlestown, Pat Sullivan. His father was the legendary Pat Sullivan Sr. He was the United States champion for one of those local groups, or back in the 50s and 60s. So I want to tell you right now, we're going to about wrap it up. We got a couple of minutes left, but we do want to tell you, if you want the best, forget the rest. Tuning in on Wednesday night from 8 to 9 and 9 to 10. Then go on back on Saturday, loop it all over again from 12 to 1 and 1 to 2. Catch us in Saugus on our Saugus time slots from 10 to 11 and 11 to 12 on Saturday. And then we have a replay date, I believe it's Sunday night in Saugus at 7 p.m. So long from Legends of Professional Wrestling. We'll see you next time.